It's that time again. Oh, yeah. We are in Genesis 50. And actually, we can have something to say. It's the end of the chapter, shows the passing of both Israel and his son Joseph. Both apparently by natural means, but the deceiving brothers get nervous that after Israel passes, that Joseph is going to seek revenge on them for selling him into slavery. But instead he forgives him. All is well. End of story. And so what I have to say about that is God uses the calamities in our life to help us be strong for others. We had just recently read in 2 Corinthians 1, I believe it was, where our suffering becomes an opportunity for comfort for others. Well, I'm thinking the same thing with the story with Joseph, that it wasn't great that he was betrayed by his brothers, but he ended up ruling Egypt, and they got to experience the power of forgiveness instead of vengeance. Oh, yeah. So, some people might think, if you believe what the Bible says, that God creates these situations. Like you'll see some situations in the Bible where it says, God created some kind of negative condition. But I don't believe God does that, because God is love. And when God creates beauty and love. So it's up to us to co-create with him. So when we experience problems, we submit ourselves to him to be the solution together. Oh yeah, baby. In fact, that's why people say God doesn't exist, because there's evil in the world. And I say evil is in the world because man does not co-create with God as intended. Yeah, baby. That's why you have the maladies that you have. Now, some things are, when it comes to natural disasters, I don't have a good answer for you for that. But it's not proof that God doesn't exist. In fact, if anything, we have evidence that God does exist because of the beauty of nature, the symmetry of all things. When you look at things microscopically, there's beauty and symmetry in what you're observing, so clearly there's a design. And just the fact that people are miraculously transformed when they're at their weakest moment, and they find life and joy and peace. How is that possible without the presence of God? And then not only that, but the experience of being loved, supported, and animated by God. If you haven't had that experience, then yeah, you can't. It's hard to describe it. But for those who have had the experience of being moved and animated and loved and communicated by the Spirit of God, there's just nothing. There's nothing you can compare it to. That's why it's hard to describe. And in fact, the Taoists say the way can't be described. That if you described it, it wouldn't be the way. I think it's the same thing with the Spirit of the Lord. Oh yeah, baby. So anyway, I just think there's more evidence of God than lack of evidence, and people who want to jump at what they think are logical reasons for proof of God's lack of existence, or at least that he doesn't care about us. I think it takes more faith to have that opinion than it does to have the opinion he does exist and he loves us and he's looking for opportunities to communicate with us, to give us the experience of being co-creators with him. Oh yeah, baby. Who else is going to turn your miserable life into something that's worth rejoicing over, right? You can't. You have to play a part. Yeah, God's the ultimate essence that will make it happen, but he's not going to intervene and just take over. You have to open up and give him that open door, which is your heart. Yeah, baby. Don't care about Christmas. Don't care about holidays. Because we have the inner life of Jesus all day long, every day. Hello. Yeah, so today's message about, God using difficulties to help us to grow and then be useful for somebody else's growth is right in line with what God's been communicating to me. And the way I know that he's communicating it to me is that when I believe it, I immediately get like energized and full of life and hope and purpose and joy. That you can't have that experience just because you're believing a myth or God doesn't exist. You put your attention on something that's eternal and it has the power of changing your mind almost instantaneously and being something that can keep you afloat and happy throughout the day. Yeah, that's God, baby. And what the most recent thing is that he's given me the revelation that we are transforming the world. You might not see it, but it's happening. And it's happening by your actions. So all the stuff I'm saying, if you're co-creating with God, you're looking for opportunities to be changed in his image through your circumstances, not in spite of them, through them, that God will use those things to help make you strong. If you're doing that, you are transforming the world, baby. Oh yeah. Because the whole body benefits when one benefits. So get going, people.